Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Green Industry Podcast. We're going to talk about something super important today, and that is branding our businesses. How can we improve our marketing, our email marketing, our social media, our website, and SEO? And so today, to tackle this topic, is our special guest, James Manske from Elkhorn Lawn Care. He's built a multi-million-dollar business, and he's definitely fine-tuned his marketing over the years. So we're going to learn about marketing tonight. And James, welcome back to the program, man. Fresh off of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Paul. Excited to help out today with some marketing, branding info, and it's a good time to implement it, especially in the spring season. So I'm ready to dive in.
Yes, and if you guys have questions, we have this set up where you can drop us a question and a comment. We'll feature you on the show, and James will answer these as well as myself on the back end of the program. But we'll keep the questions coming in. So let us know in the comments your questions, and we'll get to them later on in the broadcast. So, James, walk us through your marketing strategy and why you choose to run your business that way.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects of marketing, right? So there's traditional marketing, there's newsletter, email marketing, there's social media marketing, there's print, there's door to door. So there's so many different aspects, and you can't rely just on one. You have to be omnipresent across all platforms. No matter what you're doing, you're always marketing. So there's always one platform that one person might, see your ad. But then there's others like an email where maybe that's where certain customers would see your content more than others. So you have to kind of play the field for all of them to just be able to share what you're trying to get out. If it's marketing for products or services, or marketing just to hire more team members, I mean, that's marketing as well. So you have to kind of use these all intermittently to build your brand house. So they're all very important.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of what you just said, James, about marketing to recruit more employees. We talked about this a little bit last week, but what is your marketing strategy to get better employees?
Yeah, it's a great question, but I think it's just showing what you're doing. Like, people want to work with a company that's giving back. They're doing stuff in the community. They are doing amazing projects. They're working with great vendors and partners. So they would rather be a part of something like that than it maybe a company that they don't ever hear anything about their marketing or what they're doing in the community. So I think that just sharing your vision, sharing what you're doing, sharing where you're going, showcasing current team members and maybe a little bit of background, or saying, this person's been with us for 7 or 10 years. That's marketing. It gets stuck in the back of people's minds thinking, holy cow, if they made a career out of it, I could make a career out of it. So you're just constantly sharing more about your community, more about your culture, which is a great form of marketing to recruit.
Totally. Let's talk a little bit, James, about email marketing. What have you found works best for Elkhorn Lawn Care with email marketing?
Sure. Email marketing, I think, is one of the best forms of marketing. It's cheap or free, with MailChimp, Constant Contact, all of those newsletter services. So you can easily set that up right now, input all of your database of email addresses, and create a newsletter that you should be doing minimum of once a month. So for us, I mean, we do once a month for the main monthly newsletters, but then if there's something important, we'll send it out between those monthly newsletters. And in each one, we are informing. So you have to inform of something that's coming up. If it's sprinkler winterization, why is that very important? If it's Japanese beetles, like we get that in Nebraska, why is it important to treat them, or it could decimate your tree? So you're informing your existing database first, and then a call to action of how to jump on board or to sign up for that service. So we kind of space it out with different things based on the season or based on when a service is going to start. And there's also different things as far as surveys or giveaways or anything like that that you can implement as well. But the second sale is so much easier than the first sale. And with that being said, it's a lot easier to give an add-on service, an add-on product to an existing customer than to go find an entirely new customer with that ROI. So it's very crucial. It's something that everybody can do and should be doing before they start even paid ads and Google ads and all that stuff, because you're neglecting your current database.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when something's free, or I think I pay 10 or 10 or 11 bucks a month for MailChimp,
Mhm.
personally. And I think, James, sometimes when something that cheap or free, we just overlook it and go spend money on marketing, but the truth is they can be way more effective than going and spending money. Not that you shouldn't spend money, but I think you really made a good point there. So, your strategy is a minimum of 12 email newsletters a year to your existing customers.
Correct. Yeah, and yeah, you might be right with it might cost something depending on how many emails you send out, correct? Like if it's 10,000 a month, it might be, but it's so minimal compared
Right.
to what you're going to pay on social media or Google for a certain time frame of a sponsored ad that every other customer or company is also sponsoring ads. So you want to just focus on who is already doing business with you to continue spending more money with you that they might be spending somewhere else with the competition. And it's going back to what you were saying with the 12 months. So with the 12-month type of strategy, you can lay that all out in kind of a big pinwheel. So you know where all your services are going to be at every single month of the year. And then you just target that the month before. So you're setting up your services before they happen. You're informing people before the services are going to start, being proactive instead of reactive, and getting that in the back of their head. And it can be touch points, numerous months in a row until that season starts. Because when it starts, then hey, I remember this. It's time to sign up. I don't want to have this happen or this happen. I want to be covered, and I want to have the best property.
What's good, bro? Kingdom Lawn Care says. That's Jarvis down in Mississippi. And he'll be on the program, guys, next week. He's a solo entrepreneur and shares his story, which is a very, very cool story. So thanks for watching, Jarvis. Kyle Blessing says, "What's up?" Hi, Kyle, New York. You guys can drop a question, and James and I will get to it. We're talking about marketing. We touched a little bit on email marketing, and James and I can't express enough. And I got to get even better. I get emails from my friend Alan Hain, the lawn care nut, and this guy just email, and they're so good, James. I learn a lot from his emails, but I think that's something we could all improve. And that leads me into the next thing I want to talk about, and that is social media. This is another free 99. A lot of folks aren't even taking advantage of what you can do for free on social media, let alone the paid. So tell us a little bit about your social media strategy.
Sure. And I think before you dive into all the social media aspects, I mean, there's so many different ones. First, secure your name on all the platforms so you have that same consistency across LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. Because if you have a different company name or somebody already claimed it, then it's going to create confusion in the marketplace. So just by getting your name established in all of those, even if you don't use it yet, make sure you get that done first. There's so many free things you can do, but you have to be consistent, and that's the biggest thing. Because the algorithms, if you miss a day or if you start slacking off, it throws everything off, and you're not going to be viewed as much. But you can do so much, whether it's just showing what you're doing on a daily basis, highlighting team members, highlighting projects you've done, informing customers of what's coming up, kind of with the newsletters as well. So you can build out that social media strategy far in advance, especially if you're in the middle to northern part of the US. You have a lot of winter months where you can put all these ads or posts into place so you don't have to worry about it. And that way, post May 1st, May 5th, May 2nd, whatever it is. And just by laying that all out ahead of time, you're already going to be ahead of a lot of the competition.
Yeah, and I would add to that, James, too, is you can hire somebody to do this. I have a graphic designer that does quite a bit of work for me, and when I was trying to juggle it myself, not only were my posts raggedy looking, but it was stressing me out trying to like figure it out. Now I just kind of have a content plan, but I don't have to worry about creating all the content myself. I can delegate that to someone who's much better aesthetically of creating things than me.
Oh, for sure. And there's so many things changing in a weekly and monthly basis on social media of how you get viewed more and what's the right way to put hashtags that, I don't have time to understand that. That's why I partnered with somebody that does know how to do all of that, with assistant VAs and with the designing like you're talking about as well. But you still have to create the content for them to share, right? So
Yeah.
always have that in the back of your mind of what should I share? What can I promote? What's going on in the business? What's going on in the season, the industry, everything.
Yeah, I call I have a brother in college and a cousin in high school too. Sometimes I call them and say, "Hey, what do I do?" And they'll give me really good advice because they're so much more immersed in that world than I am. I'm kind of archaic and old school. Blessing Property Maintenance asked James, "How often do you suggest trying to post to Google My Business?" And then that we're going to cover that here coming up, but I guess we can just jump ahead to the old Google My Business here.
Yeah, so that's something we haven't really touched on much, and I think that is probably the second best in my mind of attracting new customers and new business. First is newsletters. Second is Google My Business or just being on Google. So the same thing, you have to have a website most likely and an establishment for your company, so that you can put in your hours, your location, all of that stuff helps. But the biggest thing with Google My Business that promotes you is reviews. It's not so much the ads because everybody now sees, okay, the first, second, third things that pop up are ads. But if you have the most best reviews, you're going to pop up organically. And there's a lot of SEO on the back end, which you probably need to find somebody that is a professional to help with that of your website, because they can link in words and phrases of what people are typing in so that you pop up on Google quicker. And the same with Bing as well, but Google is probably the most prevalent platform that people search. So when they're searching fertilizing services near me, if you don't have a website and you're not on Google My Business and you're not utilizing SEO, it's going to go to the next person. So this is something that you really need to focus on, just to get that quick somebody searching for this type of service, we're going to be the top person that shows up, because they're not going to scroll social media posts looking for a sponsored ad of fertilizing services. They want it right now, and they want to call and they want to sign up.
Yeah, that's it. And so how do you get those reviews on Google My Business? At what point do you ask your customer, "Hey, sweet Sue, can you drop us a review on Google My Business?" What's your system for retrieving those quality Google My Business reviews, James?
It's something that has to be also in the back of your mind every single day. Whenever you're talking to somebody and they're praising you for your work, just shoot them an email. Or if you're in person, say, I'll shoot you an email with the link to do it. That way, it just takes the guesswork of how to do it out of it. So on the Google My Business homepage, there's a review link that you can just copy paste, put in your newsletters, put in your emails, put on social, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And if there is a survey or a giveaway that you could also do, I mean, there's so many different ways to get reviews, but usually it's when people are praising your work, we thank them for it. We inform them that we're going to tell the team that did the work. They get compensated on that as well as a bonus. But
Oh,
if you
cool.
have a spare moment, would you please write a positive Google review or share your experience with our company that you've been having on Google Review? And most people say gladly, and it takes them 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
we did that last fall, and we did a big push for it. And we got about 45 reviews in
Wow.
48 hours.
Wow.
So just by
Sometimes they'll flag
promoting,
you too. I've heard stories of people that are overachievers like you, James, and then Google will think it's a spam, and they'll so I'm glad you didn't have any repercussions for the overachievement. That's impressive.
yeah, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I think it's you have to constantly remind people that that's how small businesses succeed, right? You're not gonna people aren't gonna decide to go to Walmart or Target based off their reviews. But when they're searching for a small business and a provider, that's where it comes into play. So you have to
Yeah.
remind people that too. Like, this really helps our business by getting good Google reviews and getting better placements, and be open with people, and they'd be happy to help.
Yeah, and as a consumer, I mean, I'm constantly looking at reviews. If I'm considering a company, I'm looking at the reviews. It's something that I think our culture is training us on as consumers to look at the social proof. So, add a little bit more to the website. You talked about the words on the back end, so that if someone moves to, um, Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever, lawn care near me, or lawn care in Atlanta, how do you build your website to maximize every possible component of a website? What should be on there? What's just clutter?
Sure. So you have to figure out what your service keywords are. and there's a lot of agencies that can help. I mean, we've helped with that as well, but what are your main services you're trying to push or that you offer? And you're just going to word those in, because the more times you can link to your website from a different site or social media, or you have, lawn care Atlanta or snow removal Minneapolis, like the more times that you can put that stuff in there, those keywords that people are searching on Google, that's what helps boost up your ratings too. So I recommend with a website developer to implement that, because it's not something easy, and you can build back pages and backlinks attached to your website that pull up similar websites that could be like an Atlanta lawn care landing page that ties to your main website. So there's so many different things and aspects that you can build on to doing so. But I think that having an address, a physical address in that area, by posting it on your website and on Google My Business, that'll also help. So they know it's not just somebody from California trying to get into the Atlanta lawn care, if that makes sense. So there's a bunch of different aspects to do so. But SEO is you're constantly updating, you're constantly adding and morphing and seeing what the top keywords, and it's something that most business owners don't have time to manage.
What would you say is a good price to pay for a website? I've heard extreme amounts of money spent and little bit of money spent. What do you think is a average of somebody who's maybe like, you know what, I got to prioritize getting a website this year? What do you think's a good range for a quality website?
Yeah, I mean, we've helped some people with websites that are anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500. I mean, our website before we brought on that team cost about 10,000 2 years ago. So I'd say anywhere between 2 to 10,000 is probably ideal, but you don't need to clutter it so much, because the more pages, the more you're going to lose attention. So you want to just show your offerings, show what you're good at, promote, say a little bit about yourself, how to contact, and what's like the what are you trying to promote that season, or what's the call to action right away. So you don't need to have an over elaborate tons of portfolio pictures and folders and all that stuff, when that Google doesn't really care about all those pictures. They just want to see, the wording and how it ties into helping people. So it's a big range, but once you start adding a store, if you're selling products, that's going to add quite a bit of money as well. So I would say probably around that $2,500 range to 5,000 is what most people would spend if you're going to go to a quality website provider or developer. But it can go up from there.
Yeah. Mr. Producer just texted me and said he hears a lot of mic bumping over there, James.
My hands are.
So, Mr. Producer, while we got your attention, James just ordered an ATR 2100 for next week's broadcast and a boom arm. You got the boom arm, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. So, excellence in broadcasting around here, folks, and we appreciate Mr. Producer and everything he does to bring us high quality. He said yes, thank you. So, I put my phone on do not disturb, but I think Mr. Producer texts me so much my phone says, well, we'll let his text come through. I don't know how that works because it's on do not disturb, but it's coming in. Anyway, we had another question from Kyle up in New York. He says, you mentioned Bing. Do you suggest getting a page on Bing?
I don't really do much advertising or paid advertising on Bing, but still having your company established there and having a company page is still very important, because you don't know where people are going to find you. So you can still have a company page on there where people can find you and seek you out if they're searching your area. But honestly, I don't use it much in our region. Google is primarily the biggest one, but we still have a presence on there. We just don't do ad spend behind it as much.
Yeah, I would say make sure you're on Google, Kyle, which I know you are, and I've seen your website, so you're in good shape, my friend. I want to talk a little bit about paid marketing. We've kind of touched on some of the free stuff that want to make sure we're on the social media platforms. If you guys are just tuning in, James, I'm recapping what he said. Want to be on the social media platforms with the same handle all across the various Instagrams, Facebooks, YouTubes, etc. You want to email marketing, you can get a free version of MailChimp. I think I pay $11 a month to reach hundreds of people through MailChimp, and Google My Business is obviously free if you have a physical address. And so once you kind of check mark and you do the best practices for each of the things that are free, um, outside of a website, where do you recommend actually investing money that's going to be an ROI?
It's a great question because it's always shifting and changing. I think that when you're starting out, I mean, going door to door is a great thing because then it gives you time to, talk to people, and neighborhood flyers worked for me when I was first starting out. You just have to make sure it looks professional and it is covering all the information. So mailing is also really good. Print advertising that you can go door to door with. You can target the neighborhoods you want. So it's not just going, randomly to all the neighborhoods in your town. But as far as paid advertising with, social and all of those, it's got to be pushed behind something that's going to catch their attention. So maybe the beginning of the season promo or a special holiday discount. But those are where people are going to scroll and see that and then want to jump on board. But you want to make sure that that's isolated to whatever your seasonality service is, or prepays, or whatever that might be. So you have to just kind of play with it because there's no right or wrong answer. There's always something different. You're going to find out what worked, what didn't work. You can run a bunch of different types of hot, cold, warm ads on social media, and then take that data to figure out what are people clicking on, what are people buying, what's the ROI on each of these. And it's not just a quick game that you can do 1 week or 1 month. You've got to put some time and money into that stuff to truly understand what works for you. So it's an ever evolving strategy that works for different markets and different services.
You mentioned prepay. Can you elaborate on what you were referring to with that?
Sure. So with us, we do a lot of prepayments for the whole season. So January, February, we promote a lot to our existing customers and new customers that if they prepay, they get a discount. Or if they sign up for the fertilizing program, if they're brand new, they get the 6th application free. So you're trying to get people in with that little bit of discounted rate, but you're also getting the money up front, so you don't have to worry about accounts receivable and follow-up calls to collect on money and all that stuff. And you get all that the funds for those services to purchase materials, to start another crew, to do all that stuff before the season even starts. So we push heavily on that in those winter months.
Mm-hmm. Who does the marketing at Elkhorn Lawn Care? I know you got 40, 50, 60 employees. I don't even know these days. Do you have like a specific person that's their job, or how do you handle that with the size of your business?
Yes, we do. We do have one individual that is in office that does all the social media, all of the marketing and newsletters and everything. And then we've got a team of virtual assistants as well that help with some of the design work and scheduling out and all that stuff. So typically one person could probably take care of a lot of that. And if you're a smaller company, that one person can do marketing and something else. So they can always help with something else in the office, whether it's estimates or emailing customers back or answering the phone, whatever it is. And it's something that you can start with anybody that you have in your office, or even a team member that's a production person can start helping with that stuff too, just to alleviate stuff off your plate.
If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I will ask James here. Appreciate you guys watching on the YouTube Live. I know it pretty much you guys are used to hearing my voice on the podcast, but for a while, when I say a while, for like a year, James, I've been hearing, man, you should put this on YouTube and make the podcast on the YouTube. So we're just trying it. And if you guys want to interact with us and ask us a question here, you can do so in the comments. But I want to ask you, James, now that you have built this multi-million-dollar company and you've learned a lot over the years about marketing, what's something that you wish you could go back and tell the teenage James who's just getting started? What will be your number one message about marketing that you would go back and tell that young buck?
Oh man, there's so many things, but I think one of the biggest things with marketing and branding is just don't go cheap on branding and create that image that everybody sees, because that we didn't really even touch on that too much, but the image you have in the community is probably how you're going to get some, if not most of your marketing. It's the people at your customer's house that are neighbors seeing you and saying, God, I see them in our neighborhood all the time. I need to start using their services. So having that good logo, that good wrap on your vehicles, the good clothing, and not going with the cheapest designer in your town. I wish I would have spent the money up front instead of having to rewrap trucks and get different magnets and get different clothes and get different letterheads and email like signature lines.
Did you only have to do that one time, or?
I had to do it so many times. There was
Oh,
a
man.
lot of changes, but I was going for the cheapest instead of who's the best in our town that can help us create a good logo with our company name and be able to plaster it on everything. So that's probably something I would have done way sooner, knowing how many tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars I wasted going to what we currently have now. And the same with websites.
Yeah. Who made your logo and did things right for you now?
You know, it was a wrap company
Okay.
that wraps vehicles. So they helped design that so it would look best on the vehicles. And then we kind of broke that down into t-shirts and other logo size things that we can put on print and everything else. So we started with the vehicles and then worked backwards.
Okay. We have a couple questions coming in here. And if you guys want to grab one last question, drop it in the comments and we'll get to that. We have a question here from Brian. Any books on marketing that you'd recommend?
You know, there's so many I've read over the last 20, 30 years that I just pick up bits and pieces from all. Off the top of my head, though, I know a lot of Gary V's are really good, like the jab, jab, right hook. I believe that's what it's called, but all of his are really good marketing. And it shows you how to, give, which is kind of what we talked about earlier, of providing information to make you the professional that people can trust. And then you ask for the call to action. Here's how to sign up. Here's how to treat this issue. Here's how we help customers overcome these situations. So that's a really good book for social media for sure.
Yeah, Seth Godin's another, or Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously. Seth Godin's a good author on marketing. There's so many of them. And Audible, guys, if you're not listening to Audible, then I don't know. You're missing out. But we're going to throw that Yeti in the trash can tonight, James. That mic needs to go, man. Next week, guys, we'll have an ATR 2100 over there. That mic is absolute junk. It can hear like every little movement it picks up. But Audible, you can be listening to marketing books and other business books as we're out working. So we'll take one more question here. We'll go to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Chris, my buddy up there. Thanks for listening tonight, buddy. What have you found to be the most efficient sized mowing crew for your business? Excellent question, Chris.
Yeah, for us, it's 2 to 3 man crews. We prefer 3 because we're constantly hiring. So that third person is a newer team member that's being trained. So the first 2 are always really knowledgeable. Usually it's a foreman and then an assistant foreman or somebody that's training to be a foreman. And that third person is somebody that's either new or they're just being trained up to take over as an assistant foreman per se. So for us, we like 3, but you can easily do it with 2. We've done with 2 for so many years as well, but we're constantly trying to train, model, mimic, and master each position that we are growing exponentially. So we have 3-man crews on all of our mowing crews right now.
Okay. And how many crews do you have total at Elkhorn Long Hair at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're at 5. We're going to start a 6th here soon. And then we subcontract out to a couple different companies in town as well.
Cool. Well, James, how can people connect with you and your business?
Yeah, just all social media. I mean, James Manske on all platforms or jamesmanske.com. But happy to help out whatever questions people have. There's always some free information on the website as well, some free materials that you can get right now and just help build a business, because this is the season and the time is not better than right now to get into marketing, to make sure you have all that stuff set up. Because if the more you put it off and you wait till next year, you wait till next month, you're just kicking the can down the road and it's not helping. So you have to start now, no matter what it is, because you're going to learn information, you're going to learn details in whatever you're doing that's going to pivot yourself into smarter decisions, smarter marketing down the road.
Well said, my friend. And if you guys could drop us a like on the video, that's super important. It's a way that you can say thank you for this video. And for James taking time out of his busy day. I know you just got back from the Grand Canyon, and we appreciate you joining. So if you guys could drop a like on the YouTube, it doesn't even hurt. Just you can tap it, you can smash it, drop a like. We really appreciate it. And for all my friends in podcast land, thanks for listening.